Our passion didn't start with a mouth. It started with people, with the well-being of the profession. And if you're like me, maybe a little bit of your nerdiness and all things tech too. We all want to love what we do, but the truth is burnout, people problems, and glass ceilings can keep us from doing what we set out to do. So let's get back to the heart of connection. Welcome to the Dental Handoff. This show is about passing you the knowledge, the habits, the systems, and the strategies to lead your teams, lean on your tech, and listen to your gut while you take care of people and truly the overall health of our communities. Let's stop using the wrong end of the toothbrush, y'all. My name is Dr. Kelly Tanner. Oh, and uniquely, I'm a dental hygienist too. You can consider me a guru in the dental and leadership industry. With over 3 decades of experience, my goal is to take you to the next level by empowering growth, perspective, and confidence. By identifying the gaps, recognizing the plaque, and extracting the truth with the other experts in the field. I'll share their stories, empower you to own yours, and elevate your passion in the process. So have a seat in the chair, put on your bib, and let's get to work. Welcome to the Dental Handoff. I am Dr. Kelly Tanner, and today I have with me Tanya Maestas. Tanya, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Kelly, I'm super stoked to be here with you today. And I'm excited to see what we're going to talk about.
Well, Tanya and I met each other through the dinks, through the dentists in the know. And we got real close and personal during the 12 Days of Christmas segment a few weeks ago. Gosh, that seems like yesterday. But so I said, I've got to have her on because she is an amazing human. And I know that if you're part of the dinks, that you are an amazing human. So I'm so glad to spend this time with you today.
Well, I'm super happy to be here, Kelly. But what a fun time that was with the Dinks. I think that they're a fun group, great people, and I think that they just brought us together. And so
they sure did. Wonderful. And I love the. If you guys haven't seen this episode, go back to the Dinks. It's the 12 Days of Christmas episode. It is freaking hilarious. If you guys could have seen us practicing for that and all the bloopers, right? Just to take out of that reel would have been what people would have been wanting.
Yes, absolutely.
But we did it. We pulled it off, but the spontaneity was great.
Yes.
So Tanya, the question that I always ask is, why dentistry? Did you choose it? Did it choose you?
Yeah. That's a great question. And I think that, everyone has a different path, a different journey. But for me, I did a science project in the 5th grade to see what drink stains teeth the most. And I had the opportunity to go out to different dental practices and meet with different dentists in the community. And I saw how much, they loved their job. They loved connecting with their patients and how kind they were for me. And I think at such a young age, it made such a big impression on me that it kind of stuck. And so from that point forward, I knew that's what I wanted to do. And everything I did was kind of towards getting into dental school, and got into dental school. And now we're here.
So you liked the science behind it, is what it sounds like.
Yeah, that was so fun. We would they gave me extracted teeth, so I got to throw some extracted teeth into different drinks. We would leave it there for a little bit, brush them, and then we would just see the color change over time. And I got to do it with my parents, and it was fun. And it was just cool to be out in the community. And it was nice that the dentist took time to listen to me at that age when they could have easily just given me teeth and sent me out the door.
So what did you find out? Which
gosh.
Foods? Yeah. Do you remember?
No, I can't really remember, but I know coffee was up there and Kool-Aid, of course, and Coke was up there as well too. So, the common stuff that we know, but I can't remember the results 100%. There are so many variables looking back, but it was fun.
Those are fun times, and the things that you're like, oh, I got to do it. But then you sort of get excited. Mine was about the effect of fertilizer and soil on bird seed. Because I had a bird, and I was thinking, okay, well, this is a seed and we feed it to birds. Will it grow?
Oh,
anyway, it did. And
that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's just funny how we remember those things. It's our first time that we did like a controlled experiment, but cool that's how your interest sort of blossomed.
Yeah. And science kind of was a passion from there too. So shout out to all those middle school science teachers who teach middle school students.
Making
an impact
in 5th grade.
Yeah.
So what are you up to now? You graduated, you're amazing rock star singing. You were 12, number 12 golden
Yes,
ring.
I
12.
can't even remember. I'll have to go back and watch it as well too.
No, but you're
But
making a
yeah,
huge impact in public
oh well,
health.
I hope that I am. But yeah, after dental school, I went and did an AEGD. I stayed at Houston. I went to school in Houston. I stayed there for another year. Then I came back to my hometown in El Paso, Texas, and I work at a FQHC, federally qualified health center, about 45 minutes from home outside of the city in Chaparral, New Mexico. And yeah, I had a commitment with the National Health Service Corps who paid for my
Mm.
schooling and returned to service in an underserved area. But for me, I always knew that I wanted to help those who couldn't help themselves or, don't have the opportunity to go see a dentist. And so we see a very rural community. Many migrants are in the area. The majority of the population speaks Spanish, so I am fluent. And yeah, if we weren't there, it's likely that many of those patients wouldn't have access to care. So I'm really pleased that we're able to be there, as well as our medical physicians that are next door. And half a day a week, I'm at the new dental school in El Paso, and we're going to graduate our first class next year. So I guess we're not that new, but really really exciting to see everything that they're learning, and hopefully it'll all pay off once they start working.
Yeah. How many students are accepted every year to that program? Do you know?
Yeah. Oh gosh, I'm going to blank out. But the first class had about like 45, I believe, and
Okay.
then after that they increased, and so I think they're maybe in the 70s now.
Yeah.
If the admission teams
We won't quote
watches
you
this,
on that.
they're gonna be upset, but I can't
Yeah, we
remember
will
at
not
this
quote
moment.
you
Yeah,
on that. It was just a roundabout number.
yeah,
Because
they're under 100 at this point.
okay, cool. Because I was
Yep.
thinking if I was starting in dental school, I'd probably want to start smaller
Yep.
and then sort of incrementally.
Yes.
Let's admit 100 just right out the gate.
Yeah, yeah,
Ooh.
yeah. I think they'll get to that point, but that'll probably be along the line. They may get a new building by then, but it's been so cool to kind of watch how excited the dental students are, and see them struggle the way that we struggled in dental school, and help them along the way, and just kind of inspire them to get out there and help others.
So, from the time since you've graduated and from the time that you're teaching now, what are some of the big differences that you're seeing, perhaps in how education is taught, what the experiences are like? Could you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so the curriculum in El Paso is just a little bit different. Everything is digital. They don't do any waxing. They're trying to do everything digital. Everything is kind of milled and in house. So that's pretty cool. And I think that things were very analog for our class that was graduating. You were starting to see that shift into digital, but it wasn't there 100%. And so I think that the curriculum in El Paso is kind of the exception, not the rule, not what everyone's doing now. But I think what we're starting to see in a lot of dental schools is that that incorporation of digital dentistry is coming in so much earlier on. And so I
Mhm.
think even a few classes after us at Houston knew so much more about different components of digital dentistry than we did. And so I
Mm.
think that that's one change that we're seeing in the education field, and that's an exciting thing. Of course, being in public health, we don't have a lot of digital toys, I guess you could call them, but I think that in the future we'll get there. I think that in the next few years, as costs starts to come down, I
Yeah.
think that we'll see that we'll be able to incorporate that in public health settings. And I know a few people at FQHCs have scanners, but if anyone listening wants to donate a scanner to our clinic, please let me know.
Yes. So that is a call out to our
Yeah,
listeners.
that's
'Cause
right.
I mean, I do believe that there are people who listen to this what kind of scanner are you looking for?
Oh,
Tanya?
anything. Yeah, whatever.
What? No,
We'll
say
take
the names.
anything.
Say the names. Like, what kind of scanner are you talking about? Like a
Oh, I mean,
3D
I'd love an
scanner?
iTero scanner. Yeah, I'd love an iTero scanner,
Okay.
but I'll take what we can get, just to help the workflow. One thing that's really unique about our clinic is that locally, none of the labs will come out to pick up, and so it's just too far for them. So we have to ship everything out, and everything just takes a longer time. But if I could scan,
Mm.
instead of taking an impression and sending it out, it would cut the time for that travel a little bit, where we just need to wait for the product to come in. So just a thought.
Yeah, and also too with any type of population, but I'm sure also with this type of population, sometimes the barriers, right, that keep them
Right.
from coming there.
Yeah.
You gotta get them while you got them, and
Right.
you gotta treat them where they are. And so them coming back to deliver something or to know when they're going to be able to come back sometimes is a question mark. And so having that capability of digital scanning, to be able to do same day care, to
Yeah. Oh, that would be
not
great if
deal
we
with
could. If we could
impressions.
mail in house, that would be awesome. But I don't think we're there yet. I do think in the future, with the capability of grants and maybe some companies that could donate some things, we'll get there. But we're not there yet.
All
But
right.
we'll
Well,
see.
her information is going to be in the show notes. So if anybody listening knows of this that would help an amazing population in
Yeah,
Texas, this is how good comes about.
that's
Is
right. That's right.
and we don't usually ask for things on this show, but I'm just saying, I honor all healthcare providers and all people, but you and your this unique population that you're serving, which you'll tell us more about in just a moment. It's just you guys wear capes. You really do, and the services that you're providing are life-saving. They
Well,
really are.
hopefully, I mean, I hope I like to think that, and I hope that we're doing a lot of good in the community. And it can be frustrating. It is, like any other practice. There's a struggle that's there. There's a ton of patients that need to come in, and there's only one me, unfortunately. And so there's a bottleneck there. That's kind of frustrating as well too. But we do what we can, and we help where we can as well too. And anyone that we can help, we try and connect them with somebody who can. But yeah, it's been very rewarding. I don't see myself at this point doing anything else other than going into maybe education full time. But never say never. You never know what's on the horizon. But I've really enjoyed my time in public health, and really encourage anyone who's listening who maybe wants a change of pace in their career to maybe consider a career or a few years or some time at a FQHC or community health center.
To go a little bit further, why public health for you? I know that you have an agreement, all of that,
Yeah,
but you knew that when you went into, like, you knew, yeah,
right.
I'm signed up for this because it had to be something that you wanted. So
Yeah, yeah.
tell me
So
more about where that blossomed from, or where that
yeah,
comes from.
so it's interesting, but that before I applied for dental school, I thought that the only thing that you could do coming out of dental school was go into a private practice. I knew the
Mhm.
practice that I wanted to buy. I knew who I wanted to work with. I was set. But growing up, my dad always said, there's always free money available. You just got to find it out. And so I've always been one who kind of sought out different scholarships. And before I started dental school, I looked at any scholarships available for dental students for dental school, and I came across the National Health Service Corps, and I saw that what their commitment looks like to the public health sector. And so it just resonated with kind of my mission and why I was going into dentistry. Growing up in El Paso, we're a border town. We're right next to Juarez, Mexico, and then right next to New Mexico as well too. And so many people, if they're not able to afford care here in the United States, they go across to Mexico. And that's fine. There's good and bad dentists everywhere, but
Mhm.
oftentimes that work may not be the best. And
Mhm.
so it's really difficult to see, our community have to seek out care in that way. So I knew that I wanted to help and give back to the community and help those pockets that weren't able to receive the care that they needed. And so, yeah, I applied for the scholarship. I was thankful to get it. And when I came out of dental school, I started to apply to different sites. This was pre-COVID, so there weren't a lot of job vacancies. But thankfully, I found the clinic that I'm at now, and it's worked out so far, and I've been enjoying it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. So now you're doing that, and you're also
Yes.
teaching at the school.
Yes.
What we had talked about, some of the differences that you're noticing, some of the technology, but
Hmm.
then what about some of the growth that you've seen in yourself since that time? Because now you're on the other side, right? And you're
Yes.
coming back as a faculty member. So what are some of the things, if you can think of them, that you wish that you could have told yourself when you're in dental school as you're seeing it through the lens of a faculty now?
Yeah, I think that the biggest advice and something that I try to remind students is that, at the end of the day, it is just teeth. And I think that we all can work ourselves up about a millimeter and it can ruin our entire day. And I can remember being in dental school and just being frustrated over, things that I felt were failures. And they're students, and we are in the practice of dentistry. We're all practicing to get better. So I think that that's something that I try to remind them, so that way they can remind themselves that if they are not feeling good at that point, that's fine. Learn from that and learn to see how you can grow from it. But it's okay to make those mistakes. But as long as you're putting the patient at the forefront and giving them the best care that you can provide to them, I think that's the most important message there.
Absolutely. Anything else, like from how you perhaps, okay, so we all had instructors in school.
Yeah.
And we all had instructors, professors with different personalities,
Yes.
teaching styles, all of that. How have you, I'm just like putting you on the spot here, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
how do you feel like that shaped you and who you are as an educator right
Man,
now based on
I
where
thought
you were?
yeah, I thought I was gonna come in and be a strict educator. No, I don't think I am. I think that, I try and help the student out as much as I can, but the reason that I would like to go into education kind of full time was because of the experiences that I had with faculty members, both good and bad. But I think that they inspired me really to just help the next generation of students. And a lot of my mentors are a lot of these faculty members that I did have, and so I really, enjoyed my dental experience as much as I could, aside from all the trauma that we come out with. But I'm a product of the education that I received at Houston, and a product of the education that was given to me by the faculty that I work with. And so I take it very serious when I'm with the students that I am here to help provide some knowledge to help you grow. And even after they graduate, if they have any questions or need any resources, I hope that I can serve as that resource to them.
That's awesome. That mentorship is
Yeah, yeah, mentorship is key. Yeah, I don't think any of us could be where we are without a mentor in our lives.
yeah, I felt like when I was in school, I mean, this was once upon a time, but it can feel very lonely
Hmm.
when you're in school. You have your classmates, but sometimes your classmates aren't, you don't gel with them. They're not your personality. It's fine. And I was just in school. When I was at school, I wanted to be at school. It
Hmm.
wasn't socialization hour. It wasn't anything like that. It was just, I was there for that reason. That's what I did. And in that way, I think probably looking back at my former self, I would have said, network a little bit, get to know what they know, bounce stuff off of other people. I think it was during my graduate education that I really figured out that collaboration with your classmates was a part of the key to enjoying it. Not that I didn't enjoy hygiene school. I mean, it was traumatic in some ways, but like
Right.
all
Yeah.
of this, but I learned a lot about myself through talking to other people, but then also too, I'm thinking about this as I'm saying this. Folks who are in the master's program, they're coming in from a different perspective. They're not
Hmm.
entry level dental hygienist, and at the dental school, you're teaching entry level dentist there. So I'm just thinking about, is there anything that you would have done differently, or were you really close to your classmates, or you feel connected while you were in school, or what was
Yeah,
your?
I did. I
You
guess
did. All right.
yeah, yeah. I loved being social, and I try and encourage the students now to have as much fun as they possibly can. It was a very fun time in my life. I always compare my dental experience to a roller coaster, the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. It just kind of ebbed and flowed as it did. But I had a great dental school. Kind of was the social club for me. I went. I had a great time. I spoke to the faculty members. We hung out. Spoke to the students, and we hung out. And so from that perspective, it was great. From the material perspective, it was very difficult and I struggled, and it was a huge awakening for me, starting from the first year. But when I look back at all the fun times, I look back at that dental experience with a lot of joy.
So you're teaching what year of students right now?
I'll teach any of them that are in the clinic, but I'm
Okay.
mostly with the third years.
With
And
third years.
so, yeah, so it's great to, kind of go back and forth and answer their questions and kind of help deliver the why. I think that was maybe a big thing for me in dental schools. I didn't understand the why. I was just going through the motions to get done and to get
Mm,
out. And so COVID was a huge time for me because I sat through every webinar there possibly was, and I tried to learn as much as I could. And my AEGD helped a lot as well too. But I started to learn things and started to comprehend, everything that maybe I wasn't digesting in dental school because it kind of just was all coming to me at once.
yeah.
And so I try and give them the why they're doing things, how bonding works, why they're using this kind of material as much as I can. I'm still learning as well too. And if they ask me something that I don't feel comfortable or I genuinely don't know, I tell them, hey, this is the practice of dentistry, like I mentioned, and we're going to find out together. So it's something that I remind them that even as a practicing dentist, you're not going to know everything.
Hmm. Yeah. It's when you graduate, that's when you begin the real
Yeah.
learning.
Yeah, yeah,
The
absolutely.
real
Yeah,
learning.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's like, okay, this day is embarks that you realize that you know about this much.
I know. I still feel like I don't know enough. I learn every day.
Well, the more we learn, the more it just grows. And so it's
Mhm.
like we're always sort of chasing it. So you said, you mentioned that you're the only dentist at the FQHC?
Yes, we should be two. We have several sites throughout southern New Mexico, but at my site, we should be two dentists. But we've had a few that have come in and spent some time there and then have gone out to do another thing. It's hard to find people who want to stay in public health as a career. It's kind of just like a starting point or a stop along the way in their path, and that's fine. I think that's great that there's a great opportunity to learn and build your skill with that community, especially for new dentists who are coming out who may not know what they want to do, or maybe aren't, maybe they don't want to go into a residency or a DSO or private practice right away. This is a great place to be. You grow a ton. But it is a kind of a pit stop for many people. And so people will come in, some of the dentists will come in and they'll go on to do other things. But I still think that they make an impact with their time there. But yeah, we are hiring. So if anyone wants to come work with me, please come on over. But it's fun. I'm fine practicing alone as well too. I think that I can kind of practice the way that I'd like, and I don't feel any pressure to do anything in a certain way. The corporation as a whole, the FQHC as a whole, doesn't really push me to do anything that I don't feel comfortable doing. So that's been really nice, and I can try any material that I'd like to try out, and it's been fun for me to kind of test things out as well.
Do you have a team that supports you on site? You have an assistant, you have a hygienist, or?
Yes, I have an amazing hygienist right now who's pregnant and will be delivering soon. And we pray that she comes back after she delivers. And then 2 assistants and 2 front desk. And it's a great team. And once we do add another dentist, which hopefully we will sometime in the future, we'll add another 2 assistants to the team. But right now we have a very cohesive team. This is also something that ebbs and flows and has been kind of difficult with building the right team for the kind of dentistry that you want to deliver, especially in this kind of setting. But we have an excellent team right now, and I just feel really comfortable and pleased where we're at.
In this position, what are some of the biggest, learning opportunities that you've had? Because you stepped into a position that was in public health, you're managing, working alongside of people. Where are the areas that you feel like you've grown the most?
I think I've grown a little bit more with having tough conversations, whether it's with the team or with patients, and also learning to say no. It can be really hard to say no to a patient. But if you know that maybe you won't do well by the patient or your scope of practice can't do X procedure, saying no is important. And that can be really hard. As a people pleaser, that can be really, really hard for me. So I think that that's something that I continue to kind of grow in. I think just in life, saying no is hard, but I think that I continue to kind of learn. From a technical aspect, I continue to grow in my knowledge of different materials and things that I can do for patients. So it's kind of cool to watch my skill kind of grow, like my own hand skills. It's cool to kind of see that grow over time, because I know that when I was in dental school, it definitely was not where it's at now. And I have so much room to continue to grow, but I'm really pleased where things are coming along. I'm learning.
Yeah. Do you guys have a wait list where you are?
Yeah. Yes.
Sure how that works.
Yeah. So kind of right now I'm not working right now. I've been helping my mom. She had some surgery, so I'm away from the clinic, but I'll be back hopefully at the end of next month or so. So people have been waiting for me with that, but we were at one point booking out like 6 months ahead of time. And, we would welcome any kind of emergency. But at that point, at the 6-month point, 7 month, I told people that we weren't going to schedule anymore because there's just no way. I couldn't be booking out, a whole year out. I would never catch up, and there'd be no place to put people who have emergent or urgent procedures that need to be completed. So at one point we were at 3 months, and then we were at 6 months. And so we'll see once I go back what that'll look like, and see if we're able to kind of catch up and go from there. But yes, there usually is some kind of wait list.
Now, are you all the other safety nets around you, or are you the primary safety net?
Yeah, I think that there is another dentist in the community. I don't think a whole lot of people go to them. They're a newer practice. And then we're about 5 or 6 other dental offices in the southern part of New Mexico. So we have another clinic that's about 30 minutes away, give or take, maybe a little bit less. So patients could go over there, and those are the dentists that are helping me out right now. That when I'm not in the clinic, but it's a transportation issue that can be very challenging for a lot of patients. Some patients can't go; they just don't have a right to go.
Right.
So that can be hard.
Maybe we were talking before we hopped on stage that a lot of it, you have experience with folks who are Hispanic in descent and also have diabetes.
Mhm.
Tell me more about what you've learned about that.
Oh my gosh, we all know the diabetic oral connection is huge.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that getting your diabetes under control is huge, not only for your life, but also for the oral cavity. And I've also seen patients who come in who, I would say many of them, if not all of them, diabetics, need some kind of scaling and root planing. And once they get that under control, that also works wonders for them in their lifestyle. Oftentimes, some patients will come in and say, hey, you know what, my A1C went down a little bit after my SRP, and that's huge. So it's really exciting to see patients get excited about taking care of their health. One of the really cool things about being at this FQHC that I'm at is that right next door, we have our physicians. And so oftentimes, the physician that they see is right there. If I have any questions or need a consult, I can just jump over. And that's really, really convenient. And so I think that this is the way that I hope that, healthcare transitions to in the future, is that blend between medicine, physicians, and dentistry. It just should all come together. And it's really nice to be able to see patients' medical records, see their labs, see how things have trended over time, look at their glucose levels, their A1C. And play a part in the education of, what they should be consuming, how often, the importance of exercise, the importance of coming in to see a dentist. So ton of diabetics in the community. Us Hispanics, we love sweets, so it's very prevalent in different communities, especially within Hispanics. One, because sweets are very delicious. It's a part of our culture. It's a part of our meals. But two, I think because the education is not there.
Yeah. So just the education alone and the
Yes.
impact that that's making, the ripple effect with that. We can't underestimate the change, the behavioral modifications and the information that we're giving our patients. It's life-changing for them, for their families, you don't know where it stops.
Right. Yes. We try and get, for a while I was doing a small little program with pregnant patients and giving them a little brochure on the importance of coming in as while they're pregnant to get, a screening and a cleaning done, and then the importance of bringing their children in after they do have their child, and, once their first tooth erupts. And so hopefully we're making a dent in that education and that knowledge that's available in the community. That's all I hope and I pray for. And, we have mothers who come in with many children. And we have one mother who has like 5, 6 children, and she is so good at never missing an appointment and making sure that her children come in for whatever they may need, because she knows the value and she knows the importance of doing that. Because we've had some issues, before, where her children had pain before, but we've gotten to the point where she has been so consistent and so good. And I hope that, others will follow her example, because she truly is that model patient.
Well, I love too that you have the support, the interdisciplinary support on the other side of the house of your care facility, where they can go immediately for an evaluation if there's something that needs to be checked or some type of emergent issue. So I love that. And you're right. That's like the way of the future. So in some ways you don't have digital, but you have that.
Yes. Yeah.
Right?
No, I'll take that. It's so nice, if we ever have some kind of like medical emergency, I can call them over and they're there in a minute to help, whatever it may be. Usually it's people sugar dropping because they didn't eat before they came to the appointment. But it's nice to have them there. It's just that support network, that reassurance that if something goes wrong, they're there to help.
Yeah, especially with high risk populations like you're seeing and caring for.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any final words that you want to say to the followers, say to our listeners, the followers of this program, the show?
Yeah. Thank you so much, Kelly, for having me on. And I hope that we all are making a dent in what we do and in the populations that we serve. But, like I mentioned a little bit earlier, if you're feeling lost in the profession can feel very lonely. But if you're looking for a change, maybe looking into public health, maybe another step, a different direction for you to take. I think that you will find that it's very rewarding. You're doing something different. You'll probably be in a rural community, but it's a lot of fun. And if that's not for you, go out to dental school, because they need all the educators that they can get. And it's a lot of fun to work with students. I think that they have really interesting questions, and you're able to shape what the future of dentistry will really look like.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for being on
thank
today.
you.
For anyone who wants to get in touch with Tanya, that her information is in the show notes, the way to reach out to her. She's offered mentoring, you name it. She's offered a lot of things.
Yeah. I'm an open book and glad to help where I can. So please feel free to reach out.
Awesome. Well, thank you again. And to my followers, listeners, thank you so much for what you do every day, for those lives that you touch, the lives that you save every day. And thank you for listening. And then please always ask the favor to go on to Apple and give us 5-star reviews, please. And then go on over to YouTube. You can see this full vodcast, and like, subscribe, and share with your friends. So for now, be well, my friends, with love. We will see you next time. Thank you, Tanya. Appreciate you.
Thank you.